wrestling coach and an Ohio cheerleading coach were arrested for essaying multiple students, and it was covered up by the principal of the school for over 15 years. Also in Arkansas, there is a very similar case to this one. Come join me, Holly, for both of these breaking cases right here in my Murder She Shed. This is a place we rarely discuss true crime that other channels just might shy away from. But we don't in the Murder She Shed. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell to keep up with all the crazy happenings on my channel. Viewer discretion is advised today since this case does involve minors. And it is a lot of graphic details because I am going to go into the court documents. So, again, viewer discretion is advised. And as always, all suspects are innocent until proven guilty in court. So, got all that out of the way. Now let's get started. Paige Huck, a 45-year-old cheerleading coach who was also a substitute teacher at Bidwell's River Valley High School, was indicted in August on 6 counts of third-degree unlawful sexual misconduct that allegedly occurred between 2003 and 2019, a long span of time. Paige raped multiple boys between the ages of 13 and 17 at her high school, while her pervert husband watched. While most articles call it sexual relationships, I'm just going to say up front it was rape, because these boys were not at the age of consent. They were teens, yes, but it's still not the age of consent. I'm getting so tired of there being a double standard that if the predator is a female, it is called sexual relationships. And when we know if it was the other way around with the perpetrator being a male, it would be called rape. But let's put it out there, if the child, boy or girl, is under the age of consent, then it's rape. It doesn't matter if the perpetrator is male or female. It's rape. And it doesn't matter if that young child be 17, 16, whatever, and they were okay with it. It's still rape. That's not the age of consent. I just want to put that out there because I just want to say that up front because this always makes me angry, this subject. These young boys were a victim just as much as young girls can be. I also know because I'm saying rape on YouTube, I will be demonetized, which this infuriates me about YouTube too. Why are we not allowed to call it what it is, pure and simple rape? I guess I'm just going on a rant today, so I'll just go on with my story. Matthew Huck, who is not only a wrestling coach, but also an ag teacher, and his wife Paige was also a substitute teacher there and a volunteer cheerleading coach at Bidwell's River Valley High School. And the couple would host lock-ins at their home for the football team, wrestling team, and cheerleaders. Paige was hired as the freshman cheerleader advisor in 1999. She eventually became junior and then varsity cheerleading coach, and also, like I said, a substitute teacher. On one of these particular lock-ins on November 2004, the couple put in porn for the students to watch and then had the boys line up to enter the couple's bedroom. Paige would perform sexual acts on these boys while her husband Matthew watched. Disturbing couple. Some of the same boys that Matthew coached in his wrestling class. They were abusing. After 3 of the cheerleaders left this party, they reported what they had saw to the principal of the school. I think it stopped there. But no, Principal Jacobs did nothing about these allegations, not even writing any report about this incident in the teacher's files. Nothing, not a zip. Not only that, the 3 cheerleaders' identities were not even hid after the allegations were just spread through the school. This caused the girls to be harassed by staff members and even by Paige herself. One of the girls quit cheerleading due to the harassment by Paige. Also, in 2004, the couple hosted another party, or lock-in, where the students were drinking alcohol and smoking and partying. During this party, a 16-year-old cheerleader was laying on the floor when Paige and Matthew came and laid down beside her. Coach Matthew then stuck his hand inside her shirt. The young girl just pretended to be sleeping because she was just really scared. Paige then asked Matthew, "Is she asleep?" to which Matthew then just stuck his hands down her pants. After this occurred for a few minutes, the 16-year-old then got up from the encounter, crying and headed to the bathroom. Soon after, asking her friend if she would take her home. While her friend was driving her home from that party, the friend admitted the same type of assault by the Hucks had happened to her in the past. When the victim arrived at school the following day, she reported this to her guidance counselor. But while reporting the incident, the assistant principal, Mr. Moore, overheard the whole conversation, grabbed the victim by the shoulders, and said, "We can talk about this later." The 16-year-old girl was never approached by anyone, including that principal, to further discuss this recent report of SA. Not only that, but Coach Huck was heard bragging about what he had done to the victim. During the 2005-2006 school year, Paige raped a 17-year-old wrestler at least twice in the couple's home while Matthew was present. Paige also raped a 13-year-old wrestler. 13, I say, guys. She is 45 years old. Well, I guess she was in her late 30s when this actually occurred. But still, good grief. Still a lot of difference. And the child was just 13. That's a child. To me, that's not even really officially a teen. That's a child. This 13-year-old middle schooler was actually invited by Coach Matthew to practice with the high schoolers on the wrestling team. The first incident occurred with the 13-year-old in the school van on the way home from a wrestling meet. Matthew was driving the van and 3 other students besides the 13-year-old was in the van. Paige gave the minor OS. We're just going to call it that, so I not only don't get demonetized, but I don't get my channel taken down altogether. We'll just go with OS. Encounters occurred with this particular 13-year-old for 5 years after this incident. These activities occurred in the Huck residence, the Huck's van, and often involved the use of alcohol and prescription drugs, sometimes provided by the Hucks themselves. On another occasion, Paige had sexual contact with the 13-year-old along with another identified minor student at the same time. Also in 2007, a 17-year-old FFA student drove to a bowling alley where he met up with Coach Matthew. The coach would then drive him to his home for the explicit purpose of sex with his wife. This particular student was raped by Paige over 40 times. Some of these sexual experiences happened at a wrestling sleepover at the high school, in the FFA office, in a hotel room at the FFA National Convention, and on the way back from the FFA convention in the Huck's van. Other FFA students were present in the van. I believe all these students that witnessed and also were victims to these events that occurred were afraid to come forward because how the other victims were treated after they came forward, harassed and made fun of, and they were just scared. They didn't want to go through that too. I mean, you remember peer pressure in high school. It was everything. And they were scared. They did not want to come forward for this reason, I believe. For this particular victim, someone did finally come forward, but rather than fully and properly investigate the rapes, the Board of Education instead simply allowed Paige to resign her employment in 2008. A private agreement was made between the school administration and Paige, where she just resigned and supposedly no longer allowed on school grounds, but her pedo-watching husband was still a coach and teacher at the school. Despite this, Paige continued her inappropriate actions with students, and school administrators did not enforce their role on Paige entering those school grounds. Paige was given free rein to prey upon, groom, and ultimately have sexual contact with additional students from 2008 through 2019. I know, it's crazy. This whole story is crazy. It's almost unbelievable that adults would allow this to go on so long. It's just sickening, really. In the fall of 2015, Paige started attending wrestling practices with her husband, despite being banned from the campus. At these practices, Paige would wrestle a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old boy and touch them inappropriately, often in front of the coach and other teammates. Additionally, Paige sent nude photographs of herself to both students independently. Then one evening in February 2016, the Hucks invited both the 15-year-old and the 17-year-old to spend the night at their home prior to traveling to a wrestling tournament the next morning. While Paige was sitting on the couch between the two victims and their own minor child was asleep on the floor, Paige instructed the 15-year-old to touch her private area. Matthew was sitting, watching from a chair. Matthew then took their child to bed and pretended to stay in his bedroom. I said pretended. Soon thereafter, Paige started the movie 50 Shades of Grey and watched it with the two students. During the movie, they became engaged in a sexual act. While that was happening, Coach Matthew texted Paige asking what she was doing. Paige responded to Matthew via text and said that she was effing one and sucking the other. To which Coach Matthew responded, "That's hot. Don't get caught." The students would later learn that Matthew had actually been watching the whole encounter from a window on the front porch. Guys, I don't even know what to say about this story. It's just really disturbing. Also in February 2016, while the coach was driving, his wife Paige was in the back seat, sitting in the middle of these same two boys, and she began to fondle the boys while her husband watched from the mirror. Then, in around February 2016, Coach Matthew held an overnight event for the FFA organization at a local gymnastics facility where his wife Paige was actually an employee. School officials, including Principal Edwards and Superintendent Myers, were aware that the coach was hosting this overnight event where his wife worked at. At this event, the 15 and 17-year-old were both raped in the foam pit. Then on February 29, 2016, a new picture of Paige was found on the 15-year-old's phone at the school. It was reported by school officials to Family Services on March 1, 2016. However, no one from the school relayed the history of concerning behavior about Paige to Family Services, nor did they report that she had been instructed not to even have contact with these students because of similar questionable behavior in the past. Paige claimed that she had mistakenly sent the nude photograph to the 15-year-old. "Oops, I accidentally sent that. I didn't mean to. So sorry." I don't know how that happens, but apparently it was an accident according to her. So no investigation was completed by the Board of Education over this incident, nor was this incident reported to the authorities. However, the 15-year-old parents learned of this incident and wanted to talk with the coach. Coach Matthew admitted that his wife had been having sexual contact with their son. The sexual contact stopped between the 15-year-old and Paige at that point, but because of this, Coach Matthews just began violently assaulting this 15-year-old student during wrestling practice. The coach actually punched the boy in the face at one practice that caused the 15-year-old to bleed. On more than one occasion, the coach choked the student past the point of consciousness. On July 18, 2016, the 15-year-old student told the football coach about what had been happening to him. The football coach and his assistant submitted a report of what the student had told them to Principal Edwards. Principal Edwards' July 28, 2016 notes indicated that he spoke with the football coach about the student's encounters with Paige and Matthew. At no point in his notes does it indicate any steps he planned to take or did take to address this serious allegation made against the Hucks, nor did he report it to law enforcement. Soon after this, Paige continued the essaying the 15-year-old boy for 3 more years. I'm going to say, I don't understand where the parents were. I don't like to blame the parents. I mean, when they're already put through this bad of a situation, but I'm sorry, my son would have been pulled out of this school if that coach continued to work there. I wouldn't be allowing him to wrestle in his class, knowing what had occurred. I had a boy that wrestled. In no way would that be happening to my son. These essays occurred at least 20 more times after the nude picture incident. In 2019, Paige was supposedly permanently banned, from the school campus while her husband continued to work as a coach and a teacher. Here we go again. Although she continued to visit the school. Finally, just this year, the 15-year-old has filed a lawsuit against this couple. The couple divorced in 2020. Coach Matthew remains the wrestling coach but has been placed on leave. Really. That's really true. Believe it or not. Paige has pled not guilty to the criminal charges and is expected to go to trial early in 2024. A second lawsuit has been filed by a student that attended school there between 2004 and 2019. So I want to say it is the other student that was victimized the same time as that 15-year-old. I just find this case so disturbing considering how many adults knew what was going on and nothing, absolutely nothing was done about it for 15 years. And even more disturbing is that the wrestling coach wasn't fired and he has only been put on leave. Please, since we can't do anything else, just share this video to get the word out. Something more needs to be done about this case. It's just wrong on so many levels. I don't understand why the coach has not been arrested, personally, not just put on leave. It's just crazy. As far as I know, he has not been arrested. Also, there's another breaking case out of Arkansas that involves a coach. This couple was actually caught in a sex sting, though. The couple from Little Rock, Arkansas, Benjamin Coney, 26, who is the head coach of the Arkansas Punishers, and Emily Grace Brinley, 25, stand accused of 1 count each of internet stalking of a minor and conspiracy to commit rape. On November 19th, online, Benjamin, who went by the username Central's Finest, imagine that, direct messaged what he believed to be a minor, stating I am into some very effed up sick taboos. Of course, it wasn't. It was a law enforcement officer. Thank God. I mean, I don't know. They may have victimized more children. Who knows? Then the couple allegedly suggested the conversation continue on an encrypted messaging service, offering 3 suggestions that they could change to. Benjamin texted, "It'd be easy to talk to you there, and we can talk about all of your naughtiest, most taboo fantasies." On November 27th, the messaging continued encrypted, and the couple allegedly explained they preferred a certain age range, which I'm sure is probably whatever the age of this victim was supposed to be, of course. Benjamin then texts referring to his wife Grace, she likes them young, and that she wanted to see him F a prepubescent girl. The conversation only continued to get more graphic and disturbing. His wife Grace eventually sent a picture to what they thought was a minor of her exposing one of her breasts. Benjamin also texts, "I want you to feel as secure and safe about this as you can." Then he texts, "She also really wants to meet up and was wondering if we could come and play today." The coach also texts that he fantasized about having his wife perform a sex act on him while he was involved doing something with the child. During a phone call, while the couple were allegedly on their way to meet the undercover officer, Benjamin admitted if the couple had a daughter, he would do the same thing to her. The couple arrived at the predetermined meet location, which was 200 miles from where they lived, and was placed under arrest. During the vehicle inventory, 2 sexual aids, lube, and the receipt for lube was located. During interrogation, Benjamin admitted that him and his wife looked at child images on the computer. I mean, what a shocker on that one, huh? He allegedly suggested that while he could talk a big game on the phone, he did not think he would actually do anything in real life. Don't they all say that? Grace stated that she is just trying to be a good little wife and that she was not interested in children. Grace said that she went along with Ben and repeated stuff she heard Ben say. She went on to say that she just wanted to make her husband happy and suggested she was uncomfortable with how sketchy the meeting was. She was also asked about the comment regarding the couple's own child if they had one. Grace stated that Ben told her while having sex with her that he wanted to have a baby, and if it was a girl, he wanted to have sex with her. I'm sorry, that's so disturbing. According to Grace, she started crying and has refused to have sex with him since. Both Grace and Benjamin are being detained in the Benton County Jail on $200,000 bond. Their arraignments are slated for January 8th. Both of these cases are just so disgusting. I mean, especially since the involved individuals were constantly around children because of their careers. They just had open access to children. It's just awful. I mean, these coaches and teachers are individuals that a student should be able to look up to. And I'm sure that most of the time they're going to be too fearful not to go along with whatever they ask. And that's sad that they take advantage of that situation. Please teach your children that it is okay to come to you with any sexual questions they have, and warn them of sexual dangers that they might come across. With predators being able to come straight into their bedrooms now, through phones and computers, it is very important that your children feel comfortable enough to come to you about these kind of situations. I always felt that this was something my own parents felt very uncomfortable talking about, and is probably exactly the reason I didn't open up to them after I was essayed by a neighbor when I was around 6-7 years old. So that was something I wanted to be very open about with my own children. So please be able to discuss these kind of things with your children. If I can't get any other point across, I want to make that point today. Alright guys, if you're just now finding my channel, Murder She Shed, just make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, I will leave a link below for my other channel, Strange She Shed, and you can go check that one out when you get time. If you like it, it's more on the lighter, funny side, make sure you hit the subscribe. Just sometimes my brain gets tired of talking about all this evil. Alright guys, you have a great weekend, and I'll let you say bye to Simon before we leave. I'm sure he's just laying right outside the door. Tell everybody bye. Say we love you. And I'm going to be a little brat again as usual. Got to be wet. Don't be wet. Don't be wet. Okay. Alright, he's gone. He's out of here. We love y'all. Or he's back. He can't decide what he is. Okay, you're going to be nice now? Here, say bye. Say bye. You trying, aren't you? You trying. That's what all that matters.